Are you learning Popper Etude number 7 for all state, all region, or just to improve your skills? Then this is the video for you. Today I'll be going over this Popper number 7 Etude and giving you a few tips to help you along the way. Hi, my name is Liz from Cellomoji.com, and I give you tips and tools so that you can play all of your cello songs. So let's dive into some helpful tips while you are learning Popper Etude number 7. First off, if you are learning this etude for all state or all region, make sure that you have the proper edition. They're pretty specific about which edition of etude you are buying, so I would definitely recommend that you make sure you have the right edition. And usually that also means to check to make sure that you have the right editor of the etude as well. I actually have a couple different editions of the Popper Etude book, and while there isn't really a big difference between the two different editions, I think it's better to be safe than sorry and make sure that you have the correct edition. They are also really specific about the tempo if you're doing this for all state or all region. So it is really important to pay attention to this and start practicing with the metronome early on. They are always pretty specific about a tempo range of how fast they would like their etude to be played. This year is no different, and they list that they'd like the tempo to be quarter note in a range between 92 and 102. Hopefully you are already practicing with a metronome and trying to stay steady and increase your speed gradually and consistently through the etude. Even at the very beginning stages, this is going to be super helpful while mastering this etude. To be totally honest, I think this etude might be easier to play it a little bit on the quicker side. As you notice in the etude itself, these slurs are super long and there are a lot of notes to put in the slurs. So in a way, playing things faster will help with when you are trying to conserve your bow. So in other words, when you are first learning this etude and you're trying to figure out things like what does my hand need to do to find these notes, I recommend that you don't necessarily worry too much about like, okay, am I going to get all of these notes in a slur? Because it's a little bit unrealistic to try to work towards this while you're still at a slow pace. So this also means that you really need to work on getting very familiar with your left hand on, okay, where are these notes? Where do I need to shift to? And then once you're feeling super comfortable and doing lots of different ways of practicing it to get it up to speed, you can add the slurs in and you're going to find it's going to be a lot easier to put all the notes in the slur. Be sure you are practicing your A major and your F sharp minor 4-octave scales and arpeggios. A lot of the times with Popper Etudes, they really use a lot of scale motions and a lot of arpeggios. So to have these in your ear already and to be familiar with what your hand needs to do to play them will also make this etude a lot easier. If you're feeling a little bit more adventurous and you really want to master these scales, I would recommend practicing the broken thirds. Rhythm practice is going to be super important for this etude. As you can see with all of these notes in a slur, there's going to be a tendency for the notes to come out a little bit uneven. So typically when I tell people to do rhythm practice, it is like a long, short, or short, long type practice. But because these notes are in triplet forms, I would actually practice the way of first note long, and then the second and third of the triplet are quick, and then you go through the etude like that. And then the next way you would do it is first note is short, second note is long, third note is short. And then the last way would be first 2 notes are short and you hold the third note of the triplet to be long. And you do this rhythm practice rather quickly so that you can improve your speed and your accuracy of the notes. So I'll demonstrate what I mean right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take a little bit of the beginning part of the etude. So I'm going to start from the very beginning and I'm going to do the first rhythm practice where the first note is long and the second and third are short. So I'll be doing it for the first complete measure, including the first 3 notes of the etude. The second way would be the second note being long. So the last way would be having the third note long. So just now I demonstrated doing this rhythm practice with separate bow. However, once you are getting more advanced and more comfortable with the etude, I would actually recommend you do the rhythm practice while trying to maintain the slur as well. Pay attention to the Roman numerals that you can find in the etude. This is really going to help you find the notes, and the Roman numerals help indicate which string your fingers will be on. Be aware of your hand structure when you are in thumb position. This is really going to help you play a lot of these passages in this Popper Etude. While this is not a hard fast rule, in general, your thumb and your ring finger are going to form an octave across two strings. And if you are trying to maintain this while you're playing these thumb position passages, you're going to be able to find a lot of these notes a lot easier. So keep that in mind. It's really common for a lot of people going into thumb position, especially if this is a relatively new thing, that they want to drag their thumb behind and they're just trying to reach up high for their upper notes. And while in a way it does help you find the notes, it puts your hand off balance. And especially because the intervals as you're going higher on the cello become really, really small, even just a shift of a weight or being off balance with your finger is going to make the pitch inaccurate. So really try to maintain that structure between your thumb and your ring finger. Let me show you one example of what I mean. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over measure 5 and 6 and I'll show you the structure that I mean. Okay, so while your thumb and ring finger aren't exactly playing an octave per se in these measures, making sure that your hand is in balance is going to help you be able to position your hand and play the notes correctly. So in measure 5, so a lot of people here, you move your thumb to the harmonic A. In this case, a lot of people would want to kind of just reach up for this D and this F, but I recommend, again, that you're moving your hand to find that D, because immediately after that high F, there's the octave where your low F is being played with the thumb on the D string. If I had left my thumb behind, then I would have to do an extra movement and I would lose time as well. Before I go on to the other tips, if you're getting value out of this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you won't miss out on any other Cellomoji videos. Okay, let's talk about page 2 of the etude. In case you are not familiar with fingering numbers when there are harmonics involved, if you see a finger number with a 0 attached underneath it or above it, then usually that means that is a harmonic. And as you can see in this etude, the last 4 lines of this etude is pretty much covered in harmonics. Take your time finding these notes and be aware that not all of the notes are harmonics. It's really important to pay attention to which numbers actually have the zeros underneath it and which do not. And this is what makes this passage a little bit tricky, is you're going to have to alternate between lightly touching the string for the harmonic as well as making sure the string is fully down for those solid notes. Make sure that you are really trying to figure out where all of these notes are and how you can keep your hand nice, still, and stable in the area while playing these notes before you actually have to move to a new area to play other notes. One more thing about this etude that will be important to just remember is that even though etudes are classified as exercises, we still want to make them beautiful and as musical as we can. And as you can see in this etude, there really aren't many dynamic markings marked in here. But if you really want to stand out in your audition or when you are learning this etude to really try to push yourself to play this at a higher level, I really encourage you to think about the structure, the dynamic structure of this etude as well. Where are the high points? Where are the low points? Can you put in little swells? I think these are really important to keep the etude interesting for the listener as well as for yourself. Sometimes also thinking about these dynamic structures of crescendos and decrescendos as well can really help with finding these shifts. They can give you momentum to go forward when you're shifting up high, and it can make some things feel a little bit more relaxed because you don't have to feel like you have to push your sound all the time. If you are wanting a more in-depth tutorial about this etude where I walk you through step by step for each note of this etude, plus I give you a lot of really in-depth helpful hints specific to the measures you are working on. There are MP3 downloads, there are some scale sheets that you can practice off of, as well as a ton of other bonuses. I encourage you to click on the link in the description box below. And there you're going to see the link to my complete Popper number 7 mini course. If you've wanted someone to just break this down into manageable little sections, as well as just play alongside with me, because I know that's super helpful to watch and listen, this is definitely going to be the mini course for you. Maybe you are just wanting to hear how this etude sounds like in its entirety, but in slow form. That is also included in this mini course. So be sure to click on that link in the description box, and I think this will be a super helpful mini course for you. Let me know in the comments below if there are some questions that I haven't answered, and be sure to check out the videos on your screen right now for other tutorials that you might find helpful. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!